Zoning Board of Appeals for January 13th, 2022. I was told earlier that there's going to be some instructions. I don't know if they've gone out yet or not. You can either Zoom this meeting or you can come in like you folks have tonight. Because unless our meetings were like full, you couldn't, but we got plenty of space out there. And I'm not wearing my mask because I feel that I'm safe. And I don't think you can hear me very well when I'm speaking through my mask. So the first thing up is the reserved decision on appeal number 2021051. Teresa Dilworth, 992 East Main Street, Riverhead. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
Someone wants to be heard?
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. If it don't work, it don't work.
What doesn't work?
Okay.
I'm not sure what you're saying. What doesn't work? Your Zoom?
His video's not working.
Your video's
His
not working?
audio is working.
Listen, I'm gonna go.
Can you hear us?
I don't know who that is.
Could you identify
was
yourself?
Dave.
Can you
Whoever
identify?
logged in as owner, we can hear you, not see you.
Well, it's a closed meeting. It's a reading of a reserved decision.
He might have logged off.
Okay.
All right, I gotta go forward. With respect to Mr. Chairman, I respectfully move that the appeal of Teresa Dilworth, 992 East Main Street, Riverhead, SCTM number 600-106-4-7, HC zoning for a use variance and/or relief from Chapter 301, Section 56A, where multifamily dwellings not permitted in Hamlet Center zoning and proposed three-family dwelling not permitted be granted with the following conditions, specifically that to be compliant with all applicable New York State and town codes, including the requirement to obtain a rental permit.
So moved.
Second.
Okay,
Second?
thank you. Mr. Zaweski,
Aye.
Mr. Barnes,
Aye.
Mr. Godzilla,
Aye.
and I vote aye, so that variance has been granted. All right, Carissa,
Appeal 2021-001, 599 Peconic LLC, 599 Peconic Bay Boulevard, Jamesport. Tax map number 600-87-218, RB40 zoning. For variances and/or relief from Chapter 301, Section 17, where existing lot width is 60.63 feet and minimum required is 100 feet, where side yards are 4.7 feet and 6 feet, and minimum required is 25 feet and 30 feet, where rear yard setback is 43.5 feet and minimum required is 60 feet, where proposed impervious surface is 16.4% and maximum permitted is 15%, Section 15A1A, where accessory structure located in front yard which is not permitted, and Section 15A1B, where proposed pool is 6.7 feet from property line and minimum required is 20 feet.
Mr. Cuddy,
Charles Cuddy for the applicant. With me tonight is Henry Devondo, who is the applicant of Stewart, architect, and who will speak after me. We have done what the board has asked us to do, and that is revised our map. That is the survey that's before you. And we have made significant movement of the house. We moved the house further back so that it's now at the west side, close to 50 feet back, and on the east side is 49 feet back. This is the house structure itself. We moved in on the side yards so that the side yard on the west side is close to 6 feet at this point. It had previously been 3 feet. We moved in the pool so that the pool is now 6 feet in, had been 5 feet before. We've reduced the size of the pool. But more importantly, we have eliminated the garage and we've eliminated the pool house. So we now have an impervious surface of 16.4 as opposed to 19.9. Essentially, we have an insubstantial change in in the impervious surface, and that it's less than 15% change. We have done, we think, everything that the board has asked us to do. As you know, we have DEC approval, we have CAC approval for the setback, the rear yard setback. The architect is here tonight and can go through with you once again the changes that have been made, and also give you some prints to show you in a smaller version of what we had shown at the last meeting. So I'll let him proceed at this point.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
You were sworn in at the last meeting.
Yes, I was, yeah.
Go right ahead.
I'm Stuart Phillips, the architect for Sandra. I don't have too much further to add to Charles's comments. I brought along some illustrations to describe, obviously graphically, what those are. If I may approach and present these to you. It's very much the same as we discussed last time. The main difference being on top of...
I'm not involved.
Okay. I'll walk you through it. We've made the reductions in the size of the swimming pool, the decks around that, and the other major change that Charles mentioned, we have rotated the house on the property to increase the side setback, the west setback, further than it was prior, just an additional, trying to gain some privacy, and to move the pool slightly further away from the east boundary to give a little bit more distance to the association property, which was a comment we had heard last time. Yeah, so that's, we've made every effort to try and reduce both impervious surfaces, impacts on the side setbacks as well.
Leroy and Dan, we had this at the last meeting. We saw some of these changes. Do you have any comments on them?
I did receive some correspondence today, which I did forward to you. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it because it was late in the afternoon. And I think there's things that maybe needed to look at. I don't know how much more we can look at this case. I think that the neighbor who was the architect, I think he may have some objections, most likely with this extended second floor. That's what I'm getting out of it. And, he's trying to suggest other alternatives, which, we've spent a lot of time on this, and we have asked for concessions, which they gave us. So I'm willing to listen to whoever else has to talk. So that's where I am at the moment.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone out there that would like to speak? Come on up. And I believe you've been sworn in before, right?
Yes, John Torborg.
You're next door.
Yes. My name is John Torborg, and my wife and myself, we live next door to the east. Well, I appreciate the modification, some of the modification of the plan, reduction of the lot coverage as stated, the accurate representation of the rear yard setback to the second floor projection. The core of this proposal, it remains the same. And contrary to the area variance consideration stated in the application, this variance would produce negative impact, and it is a substantial in that it affects the association to the east by placing the activity of the pool and the deck 4.7 feet from this property, and on the west, a very large, a massive structure positioned 6 feet from the property line when 25 feet is required. This side yard placement is 4 times less than the zoning ordinance. I disagree with the premise of the design, the statement that the pool in the house cannot be achieved by any other means. I feel this problem is self-created. It's a problem that could be solved. The 300-foot lot depth offers alternative solutions to what was proposed. My sense of fair relief would be to place the house centered on the property without the pool on the side yard. It's a non-compliant wide yard. We understand that. We're not stating the house should be designed to a certain minimum standard, but it should be placed appropriately centered. The pool should not be on a side yard of an already narrow lot. Disregarding the framework of the zoning to allow a pool placement in the side yard sets a bad precedent. It is a bad precedent for a zoning board to allow something like this for future cases. While Sandra states, our neighbor states that this design is for her family, it would take only one change of ownership to have good intentions become something quite different. This is a very unique site. It looks down on Simmons Point. What a pool like this could readily accommodate is night use, lights, noise, parties. Once built, no one can know nor control its future use. I ask the board to listen and respect the thoughts of this community. I think other neighbors have expressed the same concern, and we hope that you consider this.
How close is the pool to the right-of-way down to the beach for the beach association?
Is the pool?
Yes, on the, I guess, what is it, the south side?
6 feet.
No, I'm looking at 75 feet from the house, from the pool to over where the walk comes down to the beach, the beach association.
They would have to answer that, I think, that question.
That's correct, 75 feet.
So what do you,
But that's the east way.
you're talking about noise and all that, there's hardly anybody there anyway. I've been there in the summertime, not at the beach, but that path is normally way overgrown. Okay, so I'm not, you know, it's just the path down to the beach. It's not like a huge walkway.
It's a path that's used by a family association of 20 families. I think it's their prerogative to state what they feel as well.
No, I'm not, I'm just asking you about dimensions, that's all.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else to be heard?
May I make a comment on the vacant lot?
Who's speaking?
Dave Cullen, I'm a member of the association and currently the president. I just wanted to clarify very briefly that,
Let's wait a minute.
David, were you sworn in at the last meeting?
yes, I spoke at a first meeting.
Very good, thank you.
I just want to clarify about the vacant lot as described. That Beach Harbor Civic Association property described as a vacant lot is more than that. It is used throughout the year by the members, their families, and guests. Probably over 100 people use it and have for several generations. It's a quiet, tranquil spot treasured by those who use it. Placing a pool a few feet from the property line will probably forever destroy this peaceful setting, especially on a property that has been used for illegal rentals. As you know, the owner denied renting it until presented with proof of her ads. And now when there are frequent people on a property, she states that they are friends and employees. I really don't think that putting a pool there is going to help anybody in the surrounding area. It is going to diminish the quality of life for all those people who use that lot. I believe the pool should be put more in the center, and also I agree with Mr. Torborg, the house should be moved over also. There's no good reason to have them crossing right across the property that's only 60 feet wide. Thank you.
There's somebody else too.
Please come forward. I know you've been sworn in, yeah. Please identify yourself and speak into the mic.
Sandra Deobando. Hi, good evening, everyone. I think that at this point it's important that we state, you know, things that keep on recurring and saying that, like I said, everybody suffered through the first year of the pandemic. I did rent a house and I said it, and they didn't have to confront me. I was not lying. I'm not someone that lies. I'm a very honest person, and I conduct business. I'm a professional. I'm a mother, and I want this to be for my family. is my family home. So I want to make sure that we state that I am not all these things that people have said about me. An investor, that I flip houses. I've never constructed a house. I've never flipped a house. You know, so I think that's important that we state for the record. I want to build my family home. Right now, today, I'm staying in a hotel because my house is not, winterized, which is fine. It's not a problem. So the eastway, it is 75 feet away from the property line. And this is a property that we mostly use in the summer. So this is a full, a year-round community for the association, which I think that everybody should be able to enjoy, the beach. And the beach is very long, and you can go to the right and to the left. So we're talking about probably 3 months maximum. And this is not a huge pool nor a huge deck. The pool is 9 feet wide. It's not something that is, it's not a recreational center. So I think it's important that, and we have, made all the concessions that we have been able to make. And I think it is important also that me as the owner of the property gets to enjoy the property in a way that I would like to enjoy with my family. Now, I understand the impervious. I'm a nature lover. I will continue being careful with nature, and I understand all that. I understand the setbacks. We have moved the house so that we're further away. Right now, the current structure is what, 2 feet? The current structure is 2 feet away from my neighbors. So now we're proposing to be 6 feet away. So we are definitely moving it. And also, again, we're 75 feet away from the eastway, and it's an eastway. Now, the fact that the pool is going to bring more activity, not necessarily. I have the whole front yard already, where I can do a lot of activity in there. And we're a quiet family. And yes, I had my employees, use their home when I wasn't there. I think it's nice to have other people use your home if you're not there. And they didn't disturb anyone. They didn't do anything. I think that's just all I want to say, because I think it is fair that I also get to do something that I would like to do. It's going to be a very expensive property.
Can I ask a general question, Mr. Cuddy?
I'm sorry, I think that my lawyer, Charles Cuddy, had also provided a view shed.
Excuse me, Mr. Barnes would like to ask you a question.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Barnes, I'm sorry.
In general, since you're adjacent to the beach next door, the right-of-way that they're talking about, I want to know how you qualify to be a member of that association and have access to that beach right-of-way. Is that something that is possible or not possible? I don't know the answer. It's just a question.
I don't think so. I don't know the answer neither, but I think the association is, I think that probably Helen Horton can answer better that question, because I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer.
Okay, I thought maybe Mr. Cuddy might know it.
There's somebody here.
No, I know, we're not.
May I can tell you,
Thank you, Dave.
okay, it's comprised of approximately 20 properties surrounding this general area, close area. And those people are members. They jointly own a share in the beach property. And that's the property that's used by approximately 100 people throughout the year. And
So how does one join? if they would
you
like
have to
to.
buy a piece of property that's a member of the association. There are 20 properties. If you buy one of those properties, you automatically become a member.
So other people are excluded even though they're adjacent to it because they don't have the shares, is that correct?
Yes, each share, when it was originally subdivided, the beach
I see.
property was set aside, and each member was awarded one share.
I got you.
And there are
And they're
20
not transferable, Dave?
The shares are not, the properties are, and if the properties are transferred, the share goes with it.
I got it.
They're not
Okay,
for
thank you.
sale, and they're not transferable.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just say one more thing? The property now, the way it is pushed back to 50 feet, currently my property is 29 or 30 feet. closer to the beach. So 50 feet is already, we're pushing it back 20 feet, and it doesn't really obstruct Simmons Point. And the association that comes through the east way, it's really coming, and Simmons Point is on the left, and the house is on the right. So if you look towards the right, there is a lot more other homes. And so Simmons Point is to the left, so I'm not sure how my property, the new construction, will be affecting Simmons Point, because Simmons Point is on the other side. It's towards the left, not towards the right. Towards the right, there is a lot of other big homes, and this is not a big home.
Anyone else out there that we heard? Come up, please. Have you been sworn in?
Constance Torborg, I'm the architect that lives next door. So at the start of this, I kind of asked her three things. Center of the house, pool, if it's even acceptable, would be in the front yard, and that the condensers don't get close to my property line because of the noise. You know, as a residential architect, I look at a lot of properties for people, and one of the things brokers always say is that pools, they're for resale. So I just throw that out there. No one surrounding this site has spoken in favor of a pool. I do not support it because of the side yard. It pushes the house massing towards us. It does affect our property value. Even if the pool is in the front yard, it has an adverse effect because it means the variance is now, would be the entire length of the property. So, but at least in the front, it could be an in-ground pool. Where it is now, it's an above-ground pool. It's not a benign presence. Its sidewall meets the first floor of the house, which is about 4 feet above grade. And you add a 4-foot fence to that, and then you add, so now it's 8 feet high, and from the beach, it's 12 feet high. So I think that it does affect Simmons Point. The beach in Waterview is a treasured natural area. It's enjoyed by all the residents. It's enjoyed by boaters, kayakers. Those, there are many people down the rest of to the west who don't even know that their favorite walkway is about to be changed. This pool wall alters Simmons Point forever. I don't want to be unreasonable. I support a variance in some acceptable form. I do. The house should be centered. The side yards should be maximized. And I don't really support a pool anywhere, but if Sandra gets her pool, I think she's very lucky.
One question. How close is your house to the house next door? Your house is to the new house is 40 feet. It looks like apart. Then the next house over, how close are those two houses? Your house and the house to the, I don't know, it's a house on the plan, a bungalow, whatever it is.
The existing house is about 30 feet from the existing house. On the opposite side is about 35 feet.
Over, that's your house and the house, if we're looking at from the beach at your house, to the left, the structure that's to your left.
Oh, the structure's in the left.
It's about 35 feet.
Yeah, I would think that it's much shorter than the 40 feet that they're proposing with their new house on the right side of your house.
I don't know over 40 feet, because all I know is that the house is going to be 6 feet away from the property. It's
Well,
not
it's
about
also-
where my house is. It's really about where they're putting their house.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about dimensions, 40 feet is, you know, their existing house is 34.8 feet that you lived with for I don't know how many years. Now they're proposing it's going to be 40 feet away from your house.
It's 6 feet away from the property. I don't just live in my house, I live on the property.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am, you've been, come on up. Have you been sworn in?
In October,
That's good.
okay?
It doesn't expire, so go right up.
It doesn't, but, okay.
Please state your name and your address.
I'm Helen Horton, and I live at 596 Peconic Bay Boulevard, directly across the street from the subject property. Okay? So, yes, the first thing I'd like to say is Sandra seems to be defending her own personality and so forth. I have met Sandra, and we became acquaintances, and I'd like to stress that I think all our concerns are nothing against her personally. It's a matter of, preserving your own property, and I agree so much with what everybody else has said. Dave Cullen is our president of the Beach Harbor Civic Association. I am the former president for 10 years before him. And, excuse me, and so we're speaking really concerning preserving our property, and I am one of, as Dave said, 100 people that use that. And not just in the summer. I was just down there the other day. It was so beautiful with the snow. I sent Sandra a photograph of, it was, so we are, he said 100 people. I'm one of the 100, and my home is one of the 20 that are members of. But the real concern I have, I am a corner house directly across from the subject property. My front lawn slopes all the way downhill to the street, which is fine. The street slopes downhill to the corner in front of the subject property from both ways, downhill. So when there's a heavy rain, guess what happens? That street is flooded across the street such that no pavement is showing. Let's see, I've been there almost 25 years now. I can't tell you how many times I have dialed 911 because of a car accident on that corner. And when do many of the car accidents happen? When the road is flooded. Your 15% is for a good reason. So what I am asking is even 1/10% above that 15%. You are jeopardizing the safety. Somebody's dog?
He's voting, I think, but go ahead.
So, we all have concerns about the variances, and I share all that. But my main concern is the safety, because I see it in the street. I see the cars go by way too fast. I have seen them collide, and then the police is there in, 5 minutes or so. So that is my main concern. 1/10% above the 15% to me is inexcusable. So I ask you to maintain that safety for the corner.
That corner that you're talking about is probably one of the most dangerous corners on the north.
We call it Dead Man's Curve.
It's a 90-degree turn. As far as the road flooding and all that, I would think that the call would be to the town. I don't know if I'm wrong on that, Mr. Barnes. I don't know. If the road is flooding, I don't know how that's the property owner's responsibility.
Okay, because the water flows down from the property on both sides of the street, and then down the street itself. Well, the street is pitched downhill, but that's not a concern for the homeowners. You're correct.
Right.
But yes. So, but your 15% limit for impermeability, did I say that correctly, is for a good reason, to prevent additional water from flowing down. The more your property is covered with an impermeable surface, the more the water is going to flow down into the street.
Well, I would have to have an engineer tell me that if we brought the impervious surface down, that it's gonna stop the flooding on that road.
Well, because of the amount of the property that is being covered with an impermeable surface.
I understand.
Oh, okay.
So just
Can
what's
I
the
say
lot
one
coverage on that, do you know?
Mr. Barnes?
Can you tell me what the lot coverage is on the survey, because I don't have anything with me?
16.1%, as far as I know.
Okay,
Hold it. Go ahead, Mr. Barnes.
so it's 16.1 and the lot coverage there is 15% required?
That's
Is
correct.
that what they're asking for in the variance?
Yes.
So
No,
they've eliminated the garage and the pool house to try to lessen the the impervious surface, but there's still maybe some other issues. I know what she's talking about. And that might be something maybe the town highway department can deal with and put some drainage in there, because that is a very dangerous corner. And it's been left unattended for many years. So maybe there's hope with the new highway superintendent.
Just,
Can
if
I add to that?
could,
Yes,
for
Chris,
the-
I
for
see the
these
town highway,
things-
from my living room windows, I see everything that goes on. Nobody gets away with anything.
All right.
The town, I commend the town. You do get there with a huge truck that, with a...
Suck it out.
Yes, you do. You suck out the water, and that's great. But that happens maybe 1 or 2 days later, after the
Yeah.
road is entirely flooded. And then you also have come, I believe this is outsourced, this is in a town of Riverhead truck. You come with a machine that blows, and you blow out the pipe that goes underneath the road. I have watched them do that, because it was right in front
Yeah,
of my
the leaves
property.
get clogged in there. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
If I could I just ask
Thank
a
you.
question, please? On the drawing, there's two 8-foot diameter deep dry wells proposed, I don't know, a little bit towards the front of the property there. Are those existing wells, or are they proposed as new additions?
They're proposed, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Could I respond to some?
Go right ahead, Mr. Cuddy.
Not only do we have dry wells at that site, but I point out that the nearest structure is more than 150 feet back. And so we're not going to be creating more water coming off our site. I mean, the idea of impervious surface is simply how many buildings can fit on a site. And here we have just a little more than 16% as opposed to 15%, which is, generally speaking, an insubstantial variance. But I'm going to add, to respond to some other things. Mr. Torberg had made a comment about, and Mrs. Torberg too, about how far they are apart. From our site, they're over 40 feet when you use our side yard. The house to the left of them, or to the west, is 34 feet away. So essentially, our house is further away than the house they've been living next to for the last 10, 20 years, whenever they've been there. I would also point out, I'm really concerned that the Torbergs just don't like pools, I guess, but there are plenty of pools and houses in this type of situation. And pools oftentimes are placed near a house so that there can be a safety concern, so that people can see who's in the pool, who's using the pool. And that's what they've done here. And the pool itself is not a big pool. It's 35 feet long by 8 feet wide. So this is a pool that, this is, Ms. Fonsendo, my client, uses the pool regularly. She's a swimmer. And she wanted the pool next to her house. She has children. She wanted to use the pool for that purpose. I live next to people with pools. They have pools in their side yard. They have pools in their backyard. It doesn't seem to me that where you put the pool has that much significance to it, except for the concern that you can see who's using the pool. And that's what they've done with this house and this pool. I would point out to you that we have done just about everything that I think we've been asked to do, except that we will never satisfy some of our neighbors. And that's unfortunate. The neighbors initially wanted us to be set back even further than we are. Apparently that has gone by the wayside at this point. But I would point out to you, the further back that we go, the worse off we are and the better off the Torbergs are because of the view shed. The further back that you go, your property becomes less valuable. And we have, I'm going to hand in to you, an appraiser and two real estate agents who've indicated that placing us further back than we are is a big, big reduction in the value of our property. And correspondingly, the Torbergs, of course, would increase the value of their property. But I think that this design that we've redesigned on 2 occasions is appropriate at this point. And I think that it's a residential area, that the neighborhood is not impacted by another house, that the environmental area does not get hurt by having a house in a residential area. And again, the alternatives that we have are very small on a lot that's 60 feet wide. So I think that we've done what the board has asked us to do, and I'm going to ask you to approve this application. But I would like to give you the appraiser and the indication what the value is if we go back any further.
May I comment?
David, go right ahead.
Okay, I think one of the things we've been talking about is 75 feet from the water. Not that the pool is actually only a few feet from the property line. On the other side, we have the house is right on the neighbor's property line, the Torborgs, and the deck actually basically overhangs the property line. Just to simplify this, I think the major objections are that the house is too close to the Torborgs and the deck overhangs the property line. The pool is too close to the Beach Harbor Civic Association's property. These things are strung right across the width. The property is 300 feet long. The 75-foot distance thrown out is nothing to do with the distance from the Beach Harbor Civic Association property line. As far as having a pool, I don't think too many people object to people having a pool. It's just in a wrong place. You could easily, these hardships or these variances sought are self-created. You could easily move that house to the center of the property and have approximately 10 feet distance on the east and on the west to the neighbor's property line. Nobody wants a pool on their property line. Nobody wants a neighbor to build a house that overhangs their property line.
Excuse
So
me,
I think the best solution is just move the house to the center of the property and take that pool and move it somewhere else. Nobody's saying you can't have a pool, just that's a very inappropriate, noisy generating facility. Everybody knows a pool is very noisy. And this is totally inappropriate to have it right on the property line of the Beach Harbor Civic Association.
David,
Thank you. Yes.
this is Otto. When you keep talking about this house overhanging the property line, I'm looking at a survey where it shows the existing house next to the Torvers, which is almost on the property line.
Correct.
Okay, well, that house is gonna be removed.
Yes, but the new house is right on the Torborg's property line. And if you look at the second floor deck, it
Not that,
basically
wait a minute,
overhangs
wait a
it.
minute, wait a minute, David, not according to the survey I'm looking at.
Well, ask the architect, or ask Mr. Torborg if that overhangs is right on the property line.
Excuse me,
second
we've got the
floor.
architect, David, let's go.
Right, David, just to clarify, on the Torberg property side, the house goes from 9 feet, on the bay side, it goes from 9 feet from the property line to the closest point, which is 6 feet from the property line.
Yeah, this is what I mean, I'm looking at the survey and we keep talking about this house sitting on the property line. I mean, where are we? I mean, we've been talking about this since October.
And not to add too much more discussion to this, but if I may address, I know it's become a prominent issue, the location, the design of the pool. We have studied this in enormous detail. We've looked at so many different options. Just to put on the table why we made this decision, why we would like to stick with it. We looked originally at flipping basically mirroring the property, so that the house would be on the association side and the pool on the Torberg side. We felt that would be a complete lack of privacy for both of Sandra's family and the Torberg family. Very public, having the house opening onto the pool right next to their property, we thought was very inappropriate. We felt putting the pool on the bay side would be too impactful for the beach users, and we thought that would be disrespectful. And then for me, the biggest concern putting it in the front yard would be one, as Charles mentioned, a life safety issue. There's no way you could adequately fence and monitor activity in the pool, given the natural way that you have to orient the house given the width of the property. And even if you do center the house on the property, you still will be non-conforming to both side setbacks. And it's not, you'll only be able to move it, maybe a dozen feet in either direction to get it to the center of the property. So we felt that that was not meaningful to mitigate any of the concerns that have been described to date. So we figured the pool where it is closest to the association property intentionally because that is not someone living there full time. Obviously it will be used and it will impact, but we feel that it's a small family swimming pool, not a not a public pool, which would generate certainly more noise. And in terms of safety, having the pool where it is relative to the function of the house, it is by far the safest way to address it. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Mr. Torborg, could you come up a minute, please?
I think there's another person out there too.
I know. This is what was given to us, and I'm sure that you saw it the last time. This is what they proposed, where it was on your property
No, I
line.
never had seen that.
This is what is happening now.
No, we had never seen this.
Well, you've been talking about the
No, no.
house on the property line. That's the only one that I've seen where it's on the property line.
we
And it's at previous, and now they've gone where the architect just says it's 9 foot or something. Okay? So, I mean, that's why, I'm sorry I'm a little annoyed, but we've been here since October on this project, and I feel that everybody has kind of given. You folks have given, the builder has given, and we still can't get to any point, like go home or something,
None of this had been made as a public record, so we could not see this.
Excuse me, then, how were you talking about the house being on the property line if you never saw it?
No,
That's what you've been saying. Your wife said it also, it was on the property line.
we had never seen it.
It's actually on the website, as part of the posting. This survey.
So
So
anyway,
I'm not sure if they're following what's going on, I'm not sure.
yeah, so what the architect just said, you got 9 feet between the property line and this house on your side. Okay, and it's also 40 feet from your house to house where before it was 34. So that's 6 feet more away from you. I'm sorry, I don't understand, so you have to,
Yes, so it's taking advantage of the fact that we have a wider property.
you what?
Nobody said that their house is on the property.
That's what you were talking about.
Go to the podium.
Yeah, come up to the podium.
I'll be up tonight.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I got a cold and I'm not reacting to anything here.
Okay,
It's
I
just
think the existing bungalow that's there now,
next to you.
the one that is being replaced,
Okay,
the one that's gonna come down, I think it's about 3 feet away from our property line.
right,
It's a
correct,
little one-story structure,
correct. And that's
So-
being replaced with a new structure,
yes, a very big new structure. And,
9 feet away from your property line.
yeah, 9
Okay.
feet.
That's a lot. I
That's-
kept
that's
hearing,
not-
maybe it
it's-
was
it's not a
Mr.
lot.
Cullen that mentioned the property line, the house being set on, and I don't know about this pool thing. I've been down your walkway, and it's great to have a private association, and, people are proud of it. I don't know how this house is gonna affect that walkway, because in the summertime, that's totally overgrown. I dare someone coming down that walkway and try to get through it to get to the house.
Well, I'm not really here to speak, I mean, I did mention actually, I didn't mention the association, I'm not part of it.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm the homeowner
understand
next
where you are.
door for 50 years, so I'm not part of the
But
association.
you understand now about how far the new house is from your property line on your side of the property?
Yes,
Good, thank you.
and I didn't,
Well,
I
maybe, I'm
didn't-
sorry, maybe Mr. Cullen and I should be talking to you. Was that you, David?
yeah, I think,
Yes, I'm here now.
Were you the one talking about the house being on the property line?
What I was talking about was on the second floor deck, that overhangs the property line. And at the last meeting, Mr. Torborg asked the architect is it still overhanging? Because they did move it back from the water, and he replied, yes. So that, from that information, I'm saying that that is why I understood that the deck still is right overhanging. The deck protrudes further west than the house itself, the second floor.
Would it be on the survey?
On the proposed survey, I don't think they showed it.
It does.
Come on up there and answer that, would you please? We're just gonna keep this going for a few more minutes, and then we'll try to,
The second story does not overhang the property line. It extends beyond the house in the north-south direction, not anywhere towards the property line. And that is shown on the survey.
all right, Dave, did you hear that?
Yes, I did hear it, but I have seen drawings that showed the second floor extending west over to the property line of the Torborgs. And that's what I'm basing my statement on.
Yeah, it does not. It's in line with the west edge of the house. It does not extend beyond that.
All right, any other comments? Dan or Leroy, you got anything, comments?
No?
Anyone on Zoom? I gotta get used to this Zoom part, there's like another audience out there that you don't even know about. Anyone else out there? Can I see you a minute? Should we adjourn this, or should we just go to reserve decision? Huh? Reserve it? Okay. Don't get old. Anyway.
Better than the alternative.
What I like to do is, we've heard some more testimony, we gotta look at some of this stuff and weigh it. I'm gonna make a motion that we do a reserve decision in 2 weeks. And I don't know if we could ever solve all of the questions or things that people don't like about the new house. Okay, I think we've tried, I think that both sides have tried. And I would think it's gonna bring value to the neighborhood. I mean, a new house, it's gotta bring value. So I would like to make a motion that we reserve decision on, it would be the 27th of January, is that correct?
Correct.
You second that?
A second.
I recused.
Oh, I'm sorry, I recuse. Thank you.
We got a second from Mr. Zaweski.
All right, Mr. Zaweski?
Aye.
Oh, Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So I will be back on January 27th, and thank you for all your participation, really. And hopefully we can have something happen there that everyone will be happy with.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for listening to all of our comments. I know it's a trying issue.
You're welcome, Mr. Cullen. I'm glad that you showed up.
Okay, Otto.
Good night, Mr. Cullen.
You folks
Good
all
night,
have
Leroy.
a safe night and healthy night. I'll tell you, these are trying times.
Ralph.
It's the schedule for the next
Oh,
meeting.
God. Next one, huh?
No, I like to put it on the calendar.
No, okay, that's fine. All right. Chris, I think we're ready for the next show.
Appeal 2021-043, the Salvation Army, 319 East Main Street, Riverhead. Tax map number 600-129-413.2, DC1 zoning. For interpretation that the Salvation Army store is used as a church or place of worship, and by Chapter 223, Section 4C, drop-off bins shall be allowed on any premises containing a church, temple, house of worship, or other religious institution, regardless of the zoning district in which it is located. Chapter 223, Section 4C permits drop-off bins in the destination retail center and business center zoning districts only.
All right,
Good
sir.
evening.
I know you're an attorney, so we don't need to swear you in. Just please state your name and where you're from.
Yes. My name is Alfred P. Lucia Jr. My office is located at 1122 Franklin Avenue, Suite 406, in Garden City.
Please tell us what you're here for.
As Ms. Collins has stated, we are here tonight asking you for an interpretation that the Salvation Army store located at 319 East Main Street is used as a church or place of worship. We recognize and understand that when this law was passed, and I'm referring to the drop-off bin law, that when the law was passed in 2014, that the legislative intent was to ensure that drop-off bins do not become a problem with regard to visual blight, traffic, or pedestrian safety. As you may or may not be aware, the Salvation Army is a religious corporation organized in 1899 by a special act of the New York State Legislature. The Internal Revenue Service has recognized that the Salvation Army is a charity. That goes back to 1933. The Salvation Army issues vouchers to those in need in Riverhead who come to the store with the vouchers to obtain clothing. The Army has been at that location, I believe, since 1985, and they have always had drop-off bins on the premises. Section 223-4 of the Code of the Town of Riverhead states that drop-off bins shall be allowed on any premises containing a church, temple, house of worship, or other religious institution. We understand that Section 223-4D limits that, though, to no more than 2 drop-off bins on any tax map lot. Seems that the question before you really is, what is a church? What is a place of worship? There's nothing in the Riverhead Town Code that defines what a church or place of worship is. There is nothing in the New York State Town Law that defines what a church or place of worship is. So, where do you turn to for a definition of what a church is? If you look at the Religious Corporation Law of the State of New York, Section 2 contains definitions which states that an incorporated church, and the Salvation Army is an incorporated church, is a religious corporation created to enable its members to meet for divine worship or other religious observations. To bring it back to earlier times, in the early days of Catholicism, the place of worship was a catacomb. In the book of Hebrews, it is written, "Let us not give up the habit of meeting together." In Matthew's Gospel, Jesus is quoted as saying, "For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them." Thomas Paine stated, "My own mind is my own church." John Calvin stated, "Wherever we see the word of God purely preached and heard, there a church of God exists." John Calvin, being John Calvin, also added, "Even if it swarms with many faults." Martin Luther King Jr. stated, "I see the church as the body of Christ." So my point is this: a church is wherever people assemble or gather. And as I have stated in the presentation that I submitted to the board in this application, the store is used. Pre-COVID, it was used twice a month for devotional services and sermons by Major O'Gara, who is here. And so it is our contention that the store is in fact used as a church or place of worship. And Therefore, we believe, and we respectfully submit to you, that we should be entitled to the exception set forth in the law with respect to drop-off bins, two drop-off bins, being permitted on premises where a church or place of worship is located. So, in conclusion, we respectfully submit to you that a church or place of worship is wherever people gather or assemble to pray or hear the word of God.
So, Mr. Lucia,
Yes, sir.
if I had people over my house and we prayed, do I get a tax exemption?
Only if the IRS grants it.
No, I'm saying. I mean, if I preached off my deck, do I get a tax exemption?
That's not the issue, sir. The issue is
You
whether...
said wherever people gather. You know, I have people in front of me.
What I said to you, what I also said, that the IRS granted the Salvation Army a tax exemption back in 1933, which New York State has
That's
recognized
apples
also.
and oranges. I'm not talking about the organization, I'm talking about this location.
Well, your question was, are you entitled to exemption? I thought your question might be whether you could be considered to be a church or place of worship. And my response to you is that no, because you're not considered to be a religious corporation, as the Salvation Army is.
You told me that wherever people gather in his name, you quoted him, you quoted Martin Luther King.
But our
So if I had people over my house and we lit candles, did whatever we wanted to do, is that considered a house of worship?
You cannot, with due respect, I think what you're doing is taking this out of context. What I'm asking you to do is look at the entire picture, that where we have a gathering.
Respect me, Mr. Lucia. I'm not taking things out of context. I'm telling you what you told me.
But I also said it in context. The reason why I gave you a history is so that you understand that we are in fact a religious corporation, and that together with the quotes that I made with respect to what is a church or place of worship, I submit to you that is we are, the store rather, is in fact a church or place of worship, and therefore we should be permitted to have the two drop-off bins.
When are the services?
The services are approximately twice a month, like I said, pre-COVID, when Major O'Gara comes to the store, or some other Salvation Army person.
Are they published any? Is that published any place?
No, sir.
Sure.
Please.
The primary use is for retail. The retail benefits the Salvation Army in that the money is used for various purposes. To support people who need food, to support the homeless, to support people who need clothing.
The church services that you're holding, are they for the retail patrons of the store?
Generally, no, the services are usually done either before the store opens or after the store is closed, basically involving the store employees, as well as Major O'Gara, who is an ordained minister and who leads the services.
And so is there record of these services that you
There is no record other than one video that the Major has was taken recently during the service.
and are they regularly scheduled or are they impromptu?
They are impromptu. Okay. But as I stated, pre-COVID, they were done on a regular basis of twice a month.
But in an impromptu manner?
Yes.
So never scheduled, just when the mayor appeared at the property and decided this was an appropriate time to hold a service?
Yes.
And does the service have a format, any particular format?
It is my understanding from Major O'Gara, and perhaps he could answer that question after I sit, is that he would speak to them about the Word of God, be it passages from the Bible, and offer interpretation and meaning to the passages that he is reading.
Okay, and so the bins were in at one point, correct?
The bins were on our property, but outside the fence that surrounds the parking lot. Now, I mean, when the violation was issued in an attempt to perhaps reach a compromise with the town, what we did is we moved the bins from that location inside the fence at the very rear of the parking lot.
And so are vehicles able to access your property, access the bins?
Yes,
And so there would be no vehicle parked on town property?
Yes,
in the future, and then only do the 2 bins.
that's what the law states,
How many
223
bins? I'm sorry, how
Yeah.
many bins?
Well, there were multiple bins prior.
There are presently 5.
I
Now-
counted 6 today, but you said 2 bins before?
Well, I'm reading from section 223-4 of the town code, which states that, I think it's 223-4D, which states that the number of bins is limited at present to 2. So, obviously, you know,
Just suggesting that, as you probably are aware, there was a problem with overflow and blight and parking issues and access issues with those bins as they existed in the past. If you went from 6 bins to 2 bins, how would you manage that excess material? Because that was a very popular association.
we all learn from things that perhaps we haven't done as well as we could have. And this has been a learning experience. And I can say without reservation, Major and I have talked about it on numerous occasions since this violation was issued. And there is an increased awareness, and there will be more times during the day when the bins are empty, so that this way we don't have that visual blight. And like I said, we are aware of what the legislative intent of this law is. And so,
I just want to go back to the church piece of your application.
yes,
The definition, relating to church, based on your interpretation, really could be expanded and widely through the town. If intermittent or impromptu services were to really generate church use at every property, that could be principally used for any other purpose. So in your case, it's retail, but if it was a restaurant, for example, or something like that, and, I think that's a concern for the board.
I gathered that from my exchange with Mr. Gazzillo, and I appreciate that. But as I said, I think you have to take it, the total picture, all the facts and circumstances with respect to what is a church. And we are a religious corporation,
Without a doubt.
Well,
I mean,
a lot
that's,
of religious corporations also own hospitals and other types of, properties that they use to further their mission. It doesn't, transform them into a church necessarily. And particularly when the services are not regularly scheduled. I think that would be an important, thing for the board in your determination, impromptu services in a building owned by a religious corporation that's principally used for retail purposes.
I beg your pardon, apparently none of what you're saying is being picked up by the mic.
Anyway, so that was the only, question.
I understand what you're saying, and in response to that, I can only say, again, I think any possible future applications must be judged on their particular facts and circumstances. And I think, given our background, together with the facts and circumstances that I've presented, I think that we should be granted the interpretation that we're asking for. And
I think, I don't have anything else. I don't know if anyone.
I have a question for you.
yes, sir.
Would you mind coming over here and I'll give you this and then
Yes.
you'll understand what the question is. Yeah, we don't want to contaminate one another.
No.
This is a survey of property, Riverhead.
Yes.
This is the what is this down here?
Oh, this was my way of highlighting, this is my highlight.
No, this is my highlight, I did that.
Oh,
today.
okay,
But
I
it's
thought
a
I had submitted one, okay.
15 wide right-of-way. Who owns the right-of-way?
I can't answer that question.
Town of Riverhead owns it. So I don't understand this with the numbers. There's 6,
Yeah, I thought I had counted 5, but
no, there's 6
obviously I was
today.
mistaken, yep.
And that's the cleanest I've ever seen it, okay? Because I've been back there down that alley. I was on the town board.
Like
so
I said,
used to-
we learned our lesson.
And I don't understand, have you been down this alley actually to get to this property?
Yes, I have.
It's really tight down here. If you get a couple of cars in here, oh my gosh, I don't know how they, I mean, there's a space in here, but it must be employee cars. There's a little opening that people go in. I don't know how it works. But I don't understand the right-of-way. If it's owned by the town of Riverhead, why are the bins on the right-of-way? And I have not been able to find the answer to that question.
I think if the town wants to use it, then the town has the right way to use it. But I mean, the survey clearly states that our property line is back here, so that the right-of-way is inside our property line, but, yeah.
But normally
Because it-
right-of-ways are there for a purpose. I mean, that right-of-way runs behind the new apartments and goes all the way over to the aquarium, so I don't know if it's there so for emergency vehicles or whatever, but
It's
that
really,
whole,
it's really an access to the public parking, and actually there, the bins were, one of the problems with the bins was that cars were going down the right of way and just parking and dumping right on the sidewalk in front of the bins when they were full. And so not only that were they dumping on town property, the vehicles were blocking the right of way, which is an important access, not only to the parking lot, but for emergency services.
well, that's a question. I haven't gotten the answer, so we'll try to research it.
It was very messy.
I think the right-of-way, perhaps it's not, the right-of-way that Mr. Chairman is referring to is at the rear of the parking lot that I was referring to earlier.
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
where the bins are.
I think perhaps you're talking about the street
Yeah,
alongside.
that's what I'm talking about. That's
So-
the town of Riverhead.
Yeah, right,
Right.
yeah, you're talking about this over here.
Yeah.
Okay, he's talking about this here, which says right-of-way.
Oh, I don't, yeah.
What I'm suggesting is that by keeping the 2 bins, hopefully that we would permit it, inside, that should alleviate this issue out here, because now cars will be pulling in.
But this
Very
is
tight.
really tight. It would be very hard for cars to pull in, and that's the problem recently, just when you've driven, you see the car here, and they're just carrying things into here. So they're parking on this town property, and I think that's part of the issue.
If we're talking about 2 bins, I can represent to you that they will not be here.
Right. We're just trying to find things
Yeah.
out right now.
No,
This
of
is-
course.
This is a big question.
I-
And there's some other things. I mean, we gotta be honest. There's been a lot of tickets written on this property. You must be aware of that, right?
A lot of tickets?
Yes.
That I'm not aware of, frankly.
Well, I'm not here to slander this Salvation
I know
Army,
that.
okay?
We understand. You're just trying to do your job.
From 2019, okay? Oh, God, this mess.
I know.
There's 3 pages,
That I was not aware of.
okay? Here are all of the things. And then somebody said that they go into the zoning board, so everything was adjourned in the justice course. Look at all those dates there, sir.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not,
I've appeared, either in person or virtually. The violation is pending well, I shouldn't say, I'm not there regularly. It's my understanding that the violation was being adjourned to give us an opportunity to submit our application to,
the zoning board, but there were a number of violations before that
But-
suggestion even came up.
but again, all these adjournments only have to do with the one violation that was issued for the drop-off bins. There have been no other violations that I'm aware of.
So all I'm-
Ours was,
I think that's probably not correct, but I don't know for sure, because
because
Three
the
it's
pages.
been an
I know, but
ongoing problem.
the first date here is January 14th, 2019. Investigator observed six clothing drop-off bins. I mean, there's nothing before, this is all having to do with the drop-off bins. Notice
Okay.
of violation issued January 14th, 2019.
Well, I'm just saying there's a violation on the property. Look at all,
But it stems from this. It stems from what we hear for tonight. And those appearances were just part of, I mean, 1 year worth of appearances had to do with respect to COVID. But all those adjournments, and again, I'm the attorney representing them on that violation. I represent you as an attorney, that what you see in front of you are adjournments of the violation that was issued in order to give us an opportunity to come before you.
For the record, it indicates that you appeared on the video.
Yes.
And just another question too, regarding the other Salvation Army property on
Osborne.
Osborne Avenue.
That's known as the Salvation Army Corps,
Okay, is that related to this?
in the sense that it's all owned by the Salvation Army.
And so is there any opportunity to perhaps place the bins there?
There are, it's my understanding that is one bin there, okay?
That's also listed as the Salvation Army Church.
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
Okay.
But
Is that typical? Do all retail stores hold within services?
I cannot tell you whether that is typical.
Is that
Right.
part of the mission of the Salvation Army? And is there anything in the official documents or mission statement that requires or expects that religious services will be held within retail locations?
Okay, to answer the first part, is that part of the mission of the Salvation Army? The mission of the Salvation Army, I believe it's in the documents that we presented to you going back to 1899 when they were incorporated, basically is to help people who need help. That, in a nutshell, is what the Salvation Army is about. I cannot represent to you what other Salvation Army stores do, but is there something that specifically states that prayer services must be held in a retail store? No, I cannot make that representation to you.
So it's just a particular retail location that opts to do that?
Yes.
And feels that it's appropriate?
And, I mean, please understand, and you're probably aware of this, I mean, the Salvation Army is all across the U.S. as well as other parts of the world. Now, what each one does, I can't represent
I
to you.
just was interested to know whether
There's no command.
Right, the corporation has directed or if there's any written documents that require that type of service in any other retail location.
I cannot represent to you that there is a requirement that it be held.
Just the, I'm sorry,
Major O'Gara, yes.
is
He is,
the manager of that?
he is an ordained minister, and he is in charge of the Adult Rehabilitation Center in Hempstead, under which umbrella this particular store operates, as well as other Salvation Army family stores throughout Nassau and Suffolk counties.
And does he keep records of the services that he holds at these locations?
Not as far as I know.
And there are actual buildings that are churches, the Salvation Army.
Well,
I'm seeing are, which is.
I understand that there is a perception that a church is a structure with a steeple or cross or something else on top. But that's basically what we're trying to say to you, that structure facilitates devotion and prayer, worship, etc., but it is not exclusive to what the meaning of a church truly is.
Although, I think you have to admit that regularly scheduled religious services are always part of what a church offers.
What I will say to you is this. Reading the Bible, Jesus did not have regularly scheduled meetings. Okay, so prayer and gathering and assembly is when it takes place.
Understood, but as you mentioned, this is primarily a retail store.
Yes.
And when you think about the definition of a church, and I think the definitions that you outlined earlier really infer regularly scheduled religious services where a community gathers. They may do smaller worship services in other parts of their building, but that doesn't render the building a church necessarily.
I'm not ready to say to you that you have to have regularly scheduled services. I mean, certainly, during the past 2 years, there have been periods of time when there were not regularly scheduled services, and still the church, went forward. So I think, again, I think that's a perfect example of why you can't say that a church is only an edifice with regularly scheduled services.
Counselor, may I ask a question?
Of course.
The store on downtown Main Street, does
Yes.
it receive a religious property tax exemption and as the same as the building that's on Osborne Avenue? And if you don't know the answer, is that something we can find out?
To be frank with you, I do not know the answer to that question, those questions.
Okay.
I don't want
So I
to,
would be curious to see what exemptions they may have and how it was applied for and how it was written in the application.
I am aware of other properties.
I'm just
that have-
curious,
that have-
and what I'm
that
gonna
have
do
real-
is I'm gonna ask our
Yeah, that have property
assistant
exemptions.
Carissa.
But I do not know specifically about this one, frankly.
Take your point, you said you were aware of other properties, Salvation Army properties, is that what you're
Just,
saying? Or in general?
I've been representing the Army for approximately 25 years.
Right.
I generally do not do the sales and transactions of properties,
Now,
so
I just want to clarify, you said that you about other properties.
I've heard of other properties.
Okay, and do you know the Salvation Army properties? Is that what you're saying?
I know they own a lot of properties. I mean, for example, on West 14th Street in Manhattan, they have a tax.
I'm saying, and pardon me, like, if something, you say that they got a religious exemption, is that what you said?
For property taxes, I just can't, I don't know
Oh,
where
I'm
or
sorry.
when.
I misunderstood you, I misunderstood.
I think you were talking about exemptions for property taxes. Is
Yeah,
that
'cause
correct,
I
sir?
thought that's what you were saying.
That's what I'm talking about, and I would like to see how the application was made for both properties. I would assume they both receive a tax exemption. I'm assuming, I'm not sure.
Not having been involved,
So,
I don't want to say.
I think it's a good question to ask, and maybe Carissa could research that before the next meeting, to see what kind of exemptions the assessors have on it with the application attached to it. Is that something you can do, Carissa?
I'll certainly look into that, Leroy.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, Counselor.
You're welcome.
Mr. Barnes, this property in the assessor's card, whatever it's, the property is a 434.
That's a property class code.
Right,
It's not relevant to the exemption.
okay. What is the
I'm
434?
trying to find out if
mean?
it had an exemption on it. And they made it, when they make an application, it'll state in there what their intentions are. It may say it's for religious reasons, for retail sales. I mean, they are a philanthropic group, and they are part of the Protestant church. But, there's other ways to achieve things, like with the storage containers. And maybe we can just grant some exemptions and maybe amend the application so it would allow that somehow. I'm not sure how, but it's something just to think about. So that we're not forced to say it is a religious organization. That's just my immediate thinking.
Okay. Any other comments from anyone? Dan?
I guess I just want to make sure I heard a couple of things correctly. The services that are conducted there are conducted impromptu, are conducted either before or after the Salvation location opens and closes, and is limited to the employees who are there? That's all a question.
Why don't you come up?
Yeah, can I speak with my client for a moment, please?
Sure.
My client has asked me to make a correction to a statement that I made earlier. It is usually employees, but from time to time, and it's usually done either before or after, but there have been occasions when it has taken place during store hours, and if customers are present and want to participate, they are welcome.
Okay, thank you. And then just two other questions. One, when you were mentioning that during the pandemic, things were kind of no longer scheduled, and they were somewhat impromptu, but so the church marches on. Was the store open during the pandemic as well on some regular basis?
Well, obviously during the time when everything was shut down, they were not. Let me just, again, speak with my client to see if I can give you an informed answer rather than, speculate. To answer your question, my client has informed me that when they first they were closed, as I said previously, during a time when everybody was shut down. But when they reopened, it was 5 days a week as opposed to 6 days a week, and the services were not being held as frequently. And then gradually, over time, they're being held basically twice a month.
Okay. And then just one last question. I had gone to the Salvation Army's website. It's a very impressive site. You can search for all types of services inside. They'll give you the closest location. I would have expected when I went and looked underneath worship centers that something would have popped up relative to these sites, but nothing seems to come there. So I'm just trying to understand what that definition of a worship center is, given the complexity of the site and the number of services that are listed.
Well, I cannot speak to what's on the website of the Salvation Army. I can only speak to this particular situation and the facts and circumstances involved with respect to this application. I cannot speculate, why the Army does certain things and puts certain things on their website. So I'm sorry, I can't answer that in a more satisfying fashion.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, anyone else have anything? Anyone in the audience would like to add anything? So,
Would you, may Major O'Gara speak with you for a moment?
absolutely. Yeah, sure. I think, have to swear him in. Okay. Major, I have to swear you in. Rich, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
My name is Major Patrick O'Gara. I'm the Administrator of Business at the Adult Rehabilitation Center on 94 Front Street, Hempstead.
You can remove that while you're at the mic. Thank you.
If you're comfortable, I'm comfortable.
Well, we can hear you.
Major Patrick O'Gara. I'm the Administrator of Business, pastor of the Adult Rehabilitation Center in 194 Front Street, Hempstead, New York.
What is your relationship to the Riverhead facility?
I have oversight of that operation there.
Is there another manager there?
There is.
A person that is in charge of that?
She's the direct supervisor out there. She's called the manager.
Does she conduct any religious services that you're aware of?
She does not.
And when you do the religious services that you're indicating you do you offer any sacraments with regard to those?
Salvation Army doesn't practice sacraments. We believe it to be an inward manifestation. The sacraments are external. They don't accomplish anything. They're just an expression of that which should be transpiring internally. So the mission of the Salvation Army, first and foremost, we're a church. And its mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and to meet human needs in his name without discrimination. So when we talk about what we do, that is the first and foremost thing that we do, and it doesn't matter what the entity is that we perform that at. Now, I would agree with you that there's nothing necessarily, regularly scheduled. It's not. However, when I come, I sit there and meet with my people. We will have some scripture. If they request prayer, they can. And the other thing I want to emphasize is they don't have to partake when we do that.
And these are the rehab participants that you're talking about, or these are
I'm
the
talking-
store employees?
I'm talking about your store employees, and it wouldn't just be the Riverhead store. I do this to all the stores that I go to. The rehab is a completely different thing.
I was just curious as to whether it was who participates in the service.
Anybody who's there who wants to, they don't have to. Okay, we don't force them to.
And whereabouts in the store do you hold the services?
It could be a variety of different places. We've held it back in the manager's office, in the processing room. Most recently, we held it right there by the cash register.
And do you also have any connection to the Osborne Avenue?
There's a fringe connection. I mean, we're not, they're a different entity of the Salvation Army than we are. But we have a relationship, and there's a working relationship. They have people who have need. They would send them down our way, and we would help assist them.
And were you aware of the issues with the bins all along?
I've been here since 16, so when I became aware that there was an issue with the locations of the bin and obviously the rummaging that would go through that, not everybody puts stuff inside the bin, and then that's some things.
Usually like on Monday morning.
You're aware, that's right. So what we did was we quickly, we brought them inside the gate. We have learned to manage it a little bit better. We can't resolve the whole issue. The reality is that people are still going to throw stuff on the outside of the gate. Whether you take the bins or leave the bins, that's something that happens. Once again, we try to manage it the best we can. I'm sure everybody's aware, everybody is short-staffed, so we can't quite get the trucks out there on a 7-day basis, but we're out there 5 to 6 days a week.
You gotta speak into the mic.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Is anyone else here to speak on this? I think, if I remember correctly, Mr. Barnes had made a recommendation of maybe there's some way that we can figure out what to do with the bins to solve this problem without going through the definition of anything. And with that thought in mind, I'd like to adjourn this meeting to September 27th.
January.
Excuse me, yes.
Let's wait.
Yeah, I'm good with September.
This year though, right?
January 27th, 2022. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, we appreciate your time with this.
Thank you for being here. It's a great charity, I'll tell you.
Did you second?
We appreciate it, we try.
Yeah, I second.
We try.
Thank
We're-
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue.
Right. Ms. Carissa?
Appeal 2021-054, Gina Rubenstein, 54 Cedar Street, Aquabog. Tax map number 600-113-273, RB40 zoning, for variances and or relief from Chapter 301, Section 17, where existing front yard deck setback is 11.1 feet and minimum required is 50 feet, where existing side yard deck setback is 15.1 feet and minimum required is 25 feet, where existing rear yard deck setback is 25.1 feet and minimum required is 60 feet, and where existing setback from deck to garage is 0 feet and minimum required is 10 feet.
Is anyone here for this? No one is here for Cedar Street? Who do you guys want to talk?
contentious information. First of all, you're not on draw, but second,
Yes.
the person that you wanted, you asked to be here, is that your attorney, or who is this person?
No, it's the architect.
Okay.
Do you have a number for him? Why don't you call him, we have one other
We have
case,
no
we'll
one on that.
we'll take the other case. Why don't you,
That's him.
On what? On this map? On Cedar Street?
Yes,
Well, you
he's
wanna
the,
wait till the other, see if we just,
Is that the architect?
that is, yes.
oh, it is the office.
Anthony Port,
Camera is off on his, he's not muted.
Oh, so he's on Zoom?
Yes.
You wanna get him, tell him that the architect, we have access to him?
your architect's here. Can you talk to him?
You can talk to him, he should be able to hear us.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
What is your name?
My name is Anthony Portillo, AMP Architecture.
Where is his picture?
He doesn't have his camera on.
Oh, okay.
Beg your pardon, what was your full name?
Anthony Portillo, AMP Architecture, 1075 Franklinville Road, Laurel, New York.
All right, we can't see you, but would you raise your right hand, please?
Sure.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, state your full name and your address, please.
Anthony Portillo, AMP Architecture, 1075 Franklinville Road, Laurel, New York, 11938.
Good. Would you tell us what you're here for, please?
We are proposing a second floor addition, but the addition is not creating any new non-conformance. The existing decks that are around the existing home are non-conforming, and we're requesting a relief for these existing decks. We are not increasing the decks in our proposal. The reason for the relief is because we're filing for the second floor elevation, the second floor addition, and the building department required us to receive the variances for the decks around the home.
So they were built without permits, basically?
Yes, sir. This was done prior to the ownership, the current ownership, and
That's fine. So they're gonna put a second story addition on, and you're asking for a variance for the current existing decks to maintain them? Correct? Did you hear me, Otto?
Oh, yes. Are you talking to me? I thought you were talking to the architect.
I am.
Variance and relief from chapter 301, section 17, where existing front yard setback is 11.1 feet, minimum requires 50, where existing side deck site is 15.1 feet, minimum requires 25, where existing rear deck setback is 25, 60 required. Yeah, the decks are there.
So we're just asking, you're asking for relief for the decks that were built without a permit?
Right.
That's
And
correct,
then he will issue a building permit for the second story, is that correct?
correct. Did you get a
Okay.
building permit for the second story, sir?
Mr. Portillo?
They probably won't issue it.
Mr. Fortillo? Can
He
you,
doesn't seem to be on anymore, Otto.
did you get a building permit?
Yes, we lost him. I think he's off.
They probably wouldn't give him one until he legalized the decks. Once the decks are legalized, then they will probably issue a building permit for the second story and for the decks and perform inspections. That's at least what I would understand.
Okay,
Hold on, would you know?
I know that we,
Why don't you go to the podium?
he's not on anymore.
No. You lost Mr. Portillo.
we're gonna, okay, pull that mic down so it's right, you're talking right into
Yes,
it.
okay.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please state your name and your address, and you can remove your mask.
Sure. My name is Mark Becker. The address is 54 Cedar Street, Riverhead, 11901. And from my discussions that we had with the architect, I believe that he hadn't got the permits yet, as this other gentleman had mentioned. We paid a fee to have the decks, I guess, well, no, the deck was there when the deck was from like 1979. And actually, when we got the house, there was an additional survey that kind of said they were grandfathered in or something.
How long are you there?
We've been there for a year,
Okay.
for a little over a year. So I was kind of surprised when Anthony had said that we needed to have the decks certified, but, you know, that's why we're here.
Wait, I'm looking at some documents. Looking at for COs
Yeah.
and porch.
It was built prior to 1965.
He's got one CO for one of the porches, Leroy.
Yeah. You have to look at Andre's letter from the building department.
I don't seem to have one.
It's at the very top on the scan.
No,
If you have the
I
scan
got it,
permit.
it's the bottom. Primary review of the above reference has been found not to be in accordance with the zoning code of Riverhead. Have the following resolved. Existing front yard, this is all about decks.
Right, they want to legalize the existing decks that are there.
That's
It's as
correct.
simple as,
That's correct, Leroy.
so, I mean, I don't have any problem with it, and I don't know if any neighbors are there to complain against it.
Is there anyone here to speak on this, Cedar Street? No, I don't have any problem. Mr. Zaweski?
Sorry, couldn't find mute. No, if that was a motion, I second it.
Okay.
Well, I say we vote on it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'll read the appeal then, I hope. I move that the appeal of Gina Rubenstein, 54 Cedar Street, Aquaborg, Suffolk County Tax Map, number 600-113-2-73, RB 40 zoning, for variance and for relief from Chapter 301, Section 17, where existing front yard deck setback is 11.1 feet and minimum required is 50 feet, where existing side yard setback is 15.1 feet and minimum required is 25 feet, where existing rear yard deck setback is 25.1 feet and minimum required is 60 feet, where existing setback from deck to garage is 0 feet and minimum is required 10 feet, be granted in accordance with the application and sketches with amendments thereto, if any is filed with the building inspector.
Second.
Second. All right, Mr. Barnes.
Aye.
Mr. Zaleski.
Aye.
Mr. Godzilla.
You have to get it right something.
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye, so your variance has been granted. Good luck.
All right. Take care of yourself.
I'm all decked out.
Good night. Take care of yourself.
You don't have anything next to me. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Ms. Carissa.
Appeal 2021-055, Dawn Vogel, 2 Cherry Lane, Wading River, tax map number 600-26-1.2, RB80 zoning, for variances and a relief from Chapter 301, Section 29, where proposed detached garage with second level is in front yard, which is not permitted.
Okay, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please state your name and your address.
Dawn Vogel, 2 Cherry Lane, Wading River.
Okay, tell us what you're seeking.
We are seeking a variance to build a detached garage with a loft. It's in the front of our property.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, we've looked at the plans. It looks like it's quite a project. It's a 3-car garage, is that correct?
Correct.
And that's needed Why? Because you have a double-car garage up at the house?
Because we have a double car and we have many cars.
Okay, you have many cars.
We do, we have many cars.
All right.
Are they classics or just?
We have some classic cars, yes. I have a 69 Camaro. We have a 70 Olds 442. And
Oh,
then-
yeah.
And then we have, you know, 3 cars that we have for our regular usage.
Nice.
And then what's the reason for the big loft?
Storage?
Are there any utilities in this garage besides electricity?
No, no heat, no water.
So no future plans for, I hate to say it,
For
apartment?
an apartment, no.
Does anyone on the Zoom board have anything to add?
No, I suspected it was for storage of cars. And of course, down the road, when you design something like this, you do keep that option in your mind that you could someday finish it legally and put an apartment up there, as long as the house is owner occupied. But you have to wait 3 years, I believe.
Okay, we don't have any intentions of doing that right now, so.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I get it. Just about every application that has ever come in, people do it, and why not? So, I don't have a problem with it, Mr. Chairman. I don't know about Mr. Zaweski.
Mr. Zawiski is fine with it. I understand having too many cars.
Anybody else?
That could be a problem.
Is there anyone else that would
Good
like to
problem to
speak on
have.
this application?
Good problem.
We just live across the street, we have no problem, they're very nice neighbors.
Thank you. All right. who's
There you
that?
go.
All right, Mr. Chairman, respectfully move that the appeal of Dawn Vogel, 2 Cherry Lane, Wading River, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-26-2-1.2, RB 80 zoning for variance and/or relief from Chapter 301, Section 29, where proposed detached garage with second level is in front yard, which is not permitted, be granted in accordance with the applications and sketches with amendments thereto, if any, as filed with the building inspector.
So moved and seconded. Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Mr. Zaweski?
Aye.
Mrs. Miller?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Thank
So
you.
your variance has been granted.
Good luck.
Thank
Good
you.
luck,
so-
and,
Thank you.
Enjoy your cars.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And have a good evening.
Thank you.
You too. Good night.
Good night. All right, we've got to accept what, the minutes first?
Correct.
Do you have a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting?
Second. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What else?
Adjourn. Adjourn.
That's it?
Okay, we want to accept the motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Hey, listen, this was fun. Thanks, guys.
Been a slice of heaven.
I tell you, Ralph and I felt really alone up here, but with you guys out there, you know, in the bushes, man, I know nothing could happen.